And let's look at one more example. Let's go to a scenario D, and let's take everything back to where it was before. We're going to assume there's no tax for right now. And we're going to assume land rent is back to where it was at $5,000. So we're starting from a place where there's no subsidy, no rent. Where there's no subsidy, no tax. Landowners charge $5,000 for rent, and so we are here at a place of indifferent. People indifferent between working in industry or working as farmers, renting land and farming. And now let's go back and let's say we have another subsidy. So government subsidizes farmers $5,000. And so know that the subsidy is a benefit to farming. So the benefits to farming are now $45,000. That's greater than the benefits to working in industry. So once again, people want to leave industry to farm. But we're going to change one other thing. And now we're going to say that instead of there being a fixed amount of cropland, we're going to say that farmers can acquire more land. The area of this box was cropland, and before it was the fixed amount of cropland. Now it is cropland that is farmed. And down here we have, in this box, we have land that is not farmed, but it could be farmed. And now what's going to happen is when there's this subsidy for farming, and when people leave the industry to go farm, they're going to come here, and the landowner may try to charge them more rent, but the farmer also notices there's more land that could be farmed, and we're going to say land's not farmed but could be farmed at same rental rate. And so what this farmer is going to do is, instead of bidding up the rental rate of cropland, this farmer is going to want to simply rent this land that's not being used. So now we see the cropland beginning to expand. Now if something else didn't change, because the benefits to farming are greater than industry salary, this story would keep playing over and over, and more acres would be farmed. The amount of land that's farmed would keep going up, and that's unsustainable because you can't have cropland keep increasing infinitely. When people farm more land, there's more things being produced, more food being produced. Well, when there's more food being produced, there's additional acres farmed, crop prices decline. And so now when crop prices start to go down, the amount of money that farmers can make before rent subsidies is going to go down. And let's just suppose that initially, because of lower crop prices, each farmer now only makes $39,000 before land rent and before land rent. And in this case, well, the benefits to farming is still greater than working in industry. So more and more people are going to expand the amount of cropland being farmed. And eventually what's got to happen is more crops are produced, crop prices keep declining until the indifference principle is achieved. And where we're at a point where the profits before rent is $35,000, which means benefits to farming is $40,000. That's the same as industry salary. So again, we find ourselves at a place of indifference. But what is different here is whereas before we kept cropland constant, that fixed asset, the price of it got bid up and bid down depending on how badly people wanted it. And now what happened is that that fixed asset land is no longer fixed. You can have more and more cropland. And as people start to prefer something, prefer farming, something has to change to make them eventually different between that and something else. And in this case, people farm more and more cropland because the benefits to farming are greater than industry. Then more crops are produced, crop prices go down, and eventually the profits from farming go down to a level where people are once again indifferent between farming or working in the industry. And so what we have here is these exercises are illustration of how the indifference principle can be used to determine how prices of certain things change in this particular example of cropland. And what you want to pay attention to what changed here, I had to tell you what was fixed and what wasn't fixed. And when I tell you that, and I should have before put not fixed here. And in these questions, how you answer it, how you figure out what price change, I always tell you generally by telling you what's fixed and what isn't.